Hi.
Hello.
Okay, even before I say anything, you said to me you don't remember not feeling tired.
I don't.
Explain.
I think from the moment I found out I was pregnant,
Yeah.
I just was up every night going to the toilet. So, and now I can't remember. I've been a mum for 9 years and I just feel like I'm constantly tired.
Oh my days.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So guys, we're just about to get into it now. Can you tell us who you are and what you do?
I am Aisha and I'm a singer,
Hey.
a professional singer
Yeah.
and a mummy.
Of how many babies?
1.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've got 1 boy. He's 9 years old.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. And what was that like for you entering into motherhood?
Oh, 9 years ago. I can't even remember because I'm so tired. The memory.
Oh my God.
Oh, the best thing.
Yeah.
The best thing in the world. Like, such a joy. He's such a joy, which is great.
Amazing,
you know?
yeah. No, my Zena's like that as well, where it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, she's hilarious. And I wasn't expecting that in a child so young.
Yeah.
Sounds really dumb.
No,
Yeah. So I love it when people say, like, joy is the first thing that comes to their mind.
A lot of people in my life, they ask, like, can I have him? Like,
Oh,
can he
yeah?
come around? Because he's like, oh, I need some joy. Like, he's sweet. He's literally like a joy, like love spreader.
Oh, I love that so much. Like, so obviously with this pod, I'm forever trying to ask people about tips, tricks, hacks about all things motherhood and balancing the world and work as someone who's been self-employed. Before you became a mum, were you always in the industry?
Well, I was in a girl group.
Yeah.
So I was in a girl group called Addictive, the duo, with a girl called Louise, and we toured and stuff like that. We had music out.
Amazing.
Not a mother at that point, but I did work. So I worked part-time as a social worker. So I juggled the two. So I've always juggled.
Yeah.
Plus my sister, I've got 4 younger sisters who are quite younger than me. So I've had that kind of like role, kind of.
I get you.
Without the full responsibility.
Yeah, but still there to help and assist however, right?
Yeah. But then I stopped singing for a while.
Okay.
And I joined choirs and things like that and was still working and had my son in 2024 and left social work in 2018.
Yeah, I know. You said you had your son in 2024.
Oh my gosh. See? You see what I'm saying? 2024. Oh my gosh, am I speaking that into existence?
Oh my gosh. Oh, hello.
It's coming.
Oh, sorry, I would absolutely love that.
Imagine?
And then it's a baby boy. And oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's not really possible now. 9 months' time is like.
Who knows? I'm definitely gonna like make a moment in this. I would love that. Go on.
So 2014. Had my son in 2014 and I was doing social work, singing in choirs, doing some function gigs and stuff like that. In 2018, like, I used to go to work so sad because all I wanted to do was sing. I was like, this is enough is enough. Like, I love singing and I've never really gave myself the opportunity to just sing.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
Always kind of like double dipped.
Yeah, as you said, always juggled, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So 2018, I was like, that's it. I'm leaving. Handed my notice in. No full-time gig to go to. No.
So I did that similarly with my corporate or whatever full-time job. So I love it. I'm like, yes. Yeah,
that's it. You have to actually open. You have to make the room.
Right.
Make the room.
Yeah.
So I left. They were like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm a full-time singer. That's it.
Boom.
Like,
speak it into existence. Step into that space. And that's who you are.
Absolutely. Right. So I did that. The day after I handed my notice, I got a call to sing at the Royal Wedding.
There you go.
Can you sing at the Royal Wedding? I was like, oh my gosh.
Yes, I can. I think I'm free.
Right. 2 days after that, I got a call to if I was available to be Jamie Cullen's backing vocalist.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
So like, you literally, I made the space.
Yeah.
You know, and I haven't looked back since.
Perfect.
You know, it's been amazing.
Was it quite scary to hand in your notice? Pre that, or were you at that point where you're like, you don't even care, I'm leaving, I've got to do it?
Fortunately, I've got an amazing partner. Yeah. Amazing partner who's an amazing dad and supports me and is like, look, you're not happy, whatever, we will be fine. You have to do what you love now. Yeah. And it has literally transformed our lives. I'm a better mum, you know. And as a mum that travels and is away, sometimes you can get looked at as like, how could you leave your child or like for periods of time? And there's judgment with that.
Yeah.
But to then, the only judgment is you and your partner, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's the parent. And looking at my child and how happy he is makes me think, you know what? As long as we're happy, it kind of transcends into him.
Yeah, no, it does. And I think it's whatever works for your family, your family structure, because it's never the same for anyone.
No.
It takes, like any relationship, it takes all sorts, and whatever works for you might not work for me, blah, 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 and vice versa. So if that's what works for you guys, perfect. But it is funny. People be peopling is what I call it sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's hilarious the things that we decide to judge.
Absolutely.
If that makes sense. And I can understand things from the space of maybe a generational thing where you didn't do it like that in my day, blah, blah. I get that. But the funniest moments to me are when it's from your peers or peer adjacent people. Yeah. And there's just something to say about it. Yeah. And it's like, well,
for me, it's more people that actually haven't got children.
Oh, I love that.
Haven't got children, not in relationships. They'll look in and they'll be like, how could you? And I'm like, listen, this works for us. Yeah. And there's more judgment because you're a woman. Let's be real.
That too.
Let's be real. Like I was speaking to my partner, husband, Paul. He was talking about parenthood recently, and I was like, you are an amazing dad. I will say he's amazing. He goes far beyond. I said, I will always say you're amazing, and everyone else will say that because you're a man. Even though you are, I'm not saying you're not.
I get it.
You are amazing, but we just, do all the things, make the clogs turn, and we don't get the flowers.
No, it's
much.
It's the expectation, right? That's just what it is. And the men get praised. A friend of mine said this to me before I had children, and her and her husband are amazing, love them to death, etc. And she was like, just the little things that can just grate on you, and it builds up. And someone had said to her, like, oh my God, you're so lucky to have him as the dad to your kid. Oh, he's so amazing. And she's like, yeah, not as amazing as me as a mum. And the person wasn't expecting that. And I think for her, it was like it had just reached fever pitch where that was just, that's what you always hear. Yeah. And even with Father's Day, that's just gone. There are loads of like little posts that sort of echo this. Yeah. And it was, I love reading comments on like very sort of like, I guess, clickbaity kind of things, and they were like, "What? So dads can't even have Father's Day without it being dramatic?" Yeah. And it really it cracks me up. But it's like, I get it, but this is your kid, Yeah.
But then when I saw that all those like clickbaity things on Father's Day, I was like, "All right, come on." Yeah. Say it next week. I get it.
Like, have the day.
They have to have their flowers.
Of course.
Because men do get a bad rap. Yeah. They get that they are not great dads, especially about black dads, black men. Terrible father,
not
never
there, not present.
Right. So show that. Yeah. Celebrate it. Yeah. I'm not saying don't celebrate them. I'm saying celebrate women. Celebrate good mums. Like, we are a next generation of mums that are instilling like really good values and habits in our children. Yeah. We're a whole new generation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think we're very intentional, and at least we're definitely on the path to being very intentional.
Absolutely. Yeah. And instilling love and joy into our children and lifting them up in the most positive way that we can.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We have to have those flowers too.
Yeah.
Because we don't want traumatic children.
Yeah, we've been there. We're shaking that off. We're hoping we're not going to do the same to us. It's like, I think some of us are definitely in the age where we can laugh about those things. My background is from Ghana. Right. So when I speak to my other Ghanaian friends, I think anyone who's an ethnic anything, we have such similarities in how we were raised. And there's definitely an understanding of, our parents just didn't have time for certain things, and you're working, you're trying to make sure your kids are getting to where they need to get to. So they just didn't have time to slow down for some. So when you're getting disciplined, it's to the point. And me saying to the point is just being politically correct at this point. But there are things that happened or the level of discipline, for me at least, looking back on things, whether it's myself or my friends, where it was just intense. It was too extreme, not even intense, too extreme. So I love how we have the phrase gentle parenting, where we're trying to put that into effect.
Yeah.
And it's always brilliant seeing people kind of go like, you know what, I'm really trying with this gentle parenting, but this kid needs something else or whatever else. That always cracks me up, because it's
absolutely
takes some work.
My partner, he's Ghanaian.
Yeah. Hey, okay.
My stepdad and all my sisters, they're half Ghanaian.
Oh, hello.
Like, my mum's from Dominica. My dad's Guyanese.
Okay.
So I listen. I know.
Yeah.
Gentle parenting.
I feel like it's
testing at times.
Right.
The children. I've had so many times, like, so many things. You try to do Jedi mind tricks with your children. For example, like, my son loves maths now.
Okay, amazing.
And when he was young, I was like, you know what am I going to do? Because you know, when you're younger, your discipline is, I'm taking that away from you.
Yes,
I'm
that's
taking
true.
that book away. Oh, not book. I'm taking that game away. You're not allowed to play out.
Yeah.
Like, how can I do here? Because he needs to be disciplined.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go, oh, you have to sit there and do your homework. Or that's it now, you're going to sit there and read a book. Because then it's like a punishment, and they're never going to want to read a book. Because it's then it's not great, it's not an enjoyable thing.
Yeah.
So I used to be like, that's it, Lish, if you don't behave yourself, you're not going to watch number blocks, which is like maths.
Okay.
Or you're not going to read that book. And he'd be like, no, I want to. Like, I used to try and do Jedi mind tricks with him. And now he absolutely loves maths. He's awesome. So academic. I can say I was a little bit academic at school, but not as much as him.
Oh, really?
He's not really into sports.
Okay.
He's not that much into, like, he likes a drama club.
Okay, cool.
But he's not, like, overly creative.
Integrated.
Yeah. He loves his academics.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
He'll be like, I don't want to go and play football, and his dad's like, come on, let's try.
I was about to ask you, are you and his dad, are you both creatives? Or?
Well, yeah, his dad, sports, creative, business wise.
Okay,
like,
cool.
He'll be doing deals and, like, creating. Yeah. So in that regard, like your partner is, you're both creative.
Both creative, so it's almost like if Zena wants to, she can do and be anything that she wants to be, which is amazing. But I think it's very clear that this is a creative child. It could change. I mean, she's not even 2 yet. Like, calm down. But the way she's taken to music, there's always an instrument about. She's singing herself, whether she's singing along or clearly just sitting and making a little tune. I'm just like, oh my God, amazing.
Lovely.
Whenever I'm doing self-tapes for, like, any sort of acting submissions, now she also has to do, like, an ident, which is kind of where you introduce yourself, like, the first 10, 15 seconds. So she does that too. She comes to me on auditions, or she comes from productions or whatever else. So she's very much in that space. It could go the other way, where she's like, I'm sick of this shit, I've had enough, and so she's gonna do something else completely. But it seems like she's
how do you feel? Sorry, I know this is
sorry, we're having a conversation. Whatever.
How do you feel about just our journeys and how difficult it is in the field that we're in? And how would you feel like your child also going down that route?
Do you know what? This is something that Max and we do talk about from time to time, for sure. But I think she's really lucky to grow up in a space where so many of her uncles and aunties are in that space already.
Yeah.
So as much as I may have an attitude about nepotism right now, listen to me, the way this girl needs to make sure she uses all things nepotism when she's growing up. Like, I'm so here for it. But at the same time, because of who we are, and again, the people that she's surrounded by, there's such a clear style of work ethic. Yeah. So regardless of whatever you can do that can make your journey easier, I know that she's always going to be a grafter. She's always going to be a hard work, because she's surrounded by that. It's just she can't not absorb it, and that, I think, can also trickle into whatever arena she goes into. But creatively, I hope by the time she gets into that space, things have improved that much more. Yeah. That's the only thing I can say. On a bad day, I can be, oh my gosh, human beings are just trash. They're just terrible. So I can be in that space. But I think on a good day, which is now, I can really sort of take stock of how far the industry has come. There's definitely work to be done. There's way more to go. But speaking to women who are in this space, especially say female actors, where once upon a time you didn't even if you wanted to have kids, you knew you had to do it later or not at all because it can impact your work or your career. Or yes, you do have a kid. You can't bring them to auditions. You can't bring them to castings. You can't ask to see if there's a crash that can be created on set or whatever else. Those things were just not options. Yeah. Whereas now that's my world and my space. So I can see how far it's come or what journey it's on. So it doesn't make us feel I feel like we're good, you know. Hopefully there's going to be less of the bullshit sex crap and attack and being a woman of color, being a black woman in that space,
just
and
one role for you,
right? So hopefully there's going to be less and less of that. So I guess it can only be good. So right now it doesn't fill me with any sort of dread or worry or concern. How about you? If your son was to change his mind and go more into that space?
Oh no, do whatever you love. His dad, I would say he wasn't overly disappointed. Like you say, 2 years old, you kind of see that they're creative.
Yeah.
He was like, he does not love football.
Oh yeah.
He was like, he does not love football. And my partner, he works in football sometimes as well. Does like commercial deals.
Nice.
So he's around that. And I was like, are you disappointed? He said, not really. Like I just want him to be happy and do whatever he loves. Yeah. So we try our best not to push him into anything he doesn't want to do. Try our best to open the door so that he can try different things. Like he just goes to young engineers or like coding. Like he loves computers and stuff like that. So we try our best to. And then I've just signed him up for theatre, just for not necessarily like, oh, I want you to be in creative or acting, but that for me it's a skill, isn't it? It's talking. It's a presentation that you've got to do at the school and things like
that's
that.
Absolutely
so I just wanted
correct,
to just dabble and maybe play an instrument of his choice. Yeah. You know,
No, that makes sense. And even like as you said with the theatre thing, it's just about confidence, self-confidence. Absolutely. And as you said, tools on how to speak to people, to a room of people. Yeah. So that makes perfect sense. I think I may be spacing out right now, but did you know you always wanted to be a mum?
I always knew I wanted to be a mum.
Yeah.
I always knew it. I had 4 younger sisters. My sister after me is Shayna. She's a singer as well. Nice. She is 8 years younger than me. Okay. But then my youngest sister, 18, 19 years apart. Okay. So she could have been my child. Yeah. Like I used to go out and like go to my mum's room like after a club, like take her and bring her into my bed. When all my friends had their children, I would literally I was so excited. I was like, cannot wait to be pregnant.
Oh, amazing.
So I always knew I wanted to be a mum. We're gonna start trying. I know it's a big gap. Do you know what though? We would have started trying if I'd have known that we was going into lockdown.
Oh my gosh. That would have been such a great time, right? Me and Max were like, did we miss a trick here? Because that's concentrated time at home for both mom and dad, right?
Absolutely.
With baby, yeah.
And my son, bless him, he wants a sibling.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he does. Every time I put on weight, he's like, Mummy, I think there's a baby. I'm like, I'm sorry, son. I'm bloated. There's pies. I ate all the pies.
Oh man.
But he really wants a sibling. He's a real people person.
I love that.
I think another thing that's been a blessing in some ways is the fact that I do work, and I did work. Like I think I went back to work, social work, be it, and still had my choir stuff 6 months after I had him.
Amazing! Wow. How was? Sorry, finish your sentence.
Do you know what? It was fine because it takes a village.
Yeah.
You know, my mum, where I worked, my mum lived around the corner.
Oh, amazing.
I've got 4 younger sisters. They're very involved in his life.
Amazing.
And people think, that might be a bit early, but his people skills. He will walk in a room and, you know, walk around. Like I brought him to some of my shows, tour stuff, and we have the backstage bit, and he's walking around talking to everyone. He's very confident in communicating with people and new people. You know, I'm not saying, you know, not everyone that you should talk to.
That's you.
But generally, he's very confident and he's he's not socially anxious. Like sometimes I can get really socially anxious, and I didn't want that for him.
Yeah.
You know, to then walk into a room to be able to be himself. You know, I think having so many different people in his life at such a young age has really, you know, helped that.
Yeah, no, I get it. Do you think with you saying that? I'm trying to think. My first job back after it was a voiceover thing, so it wasn't too strenuous or anything like that. Oh my gosh, maybe I almost want to say a couple of weeks, 3 weeks maybe at most. I actually think it's even 2 weeks.
Oh, after you had her,
yeah.
Right.
So, work is work, especially in our space. Not even so much about the whole you don't know when it's gonna come, whatever else. But I think because our hours are not typical, they're not standard. You can jump into things really early. And I know you said you went back into social care, so obviously it's a very different structure. Yeah. But as you said, you had the support, and your mum was
absolutely, and I could work from home. Like, it wasn't as strict.
Yeah.
Saying that, I mean, it's so different for mums. Like, my son's birthday is in November, and I'm going on tour in November.
Yeah.
It's a UK tour. It's not long.
Yeah.
But on his birthday, it's like the second day of the tour.
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm like, his birthday's on a weekday. He's going to be at school, and I'm in an RN, and Paul's like, it's like, babe, this is work for you. If you didn't do what you did as a singer, where you had the choice to maybe get a dep, you'd have to go to work.
Very true.
It's like, you enjoy your job. Our son is going to have a celebration of his birthday on the weekend. His aunts will probably come round on his actual birthday.
That's sweet.
He will be fine. He won't be like, Mummy's not here on this day. We've celebrated, and we'll FaceTime, and we'll do everything. Yeah. I'm like, okay. And for me, I know all of this. It's more about the judgment of everyone else going, she's the mum, she's not there on the birthday. Do you know what I mean? Like, it plays in the back of your mind.
So annoying. It's frustrating. I'm trying to think if I've ever had any of those moments yet. I think I can be very, fuck it. Yeah. Do you know what? Maybe the only thing might be breastfeeding, because Zena's approaching 2 and we're coming to the end of that journey. But I might have had the odd look here and there, but...
What, people are looking and thinking just she's too big?
Maybe, but then she's also quite petite, so you don't really know how old she is. It's when she starts talking in her style, you can see that she's got teeth, that you might have a few. But I was going to say shockingly, I said I'm maybe unnaturally comfortable, like, body-wise. I feel like, we all have bodies, and either one person has boobs or they don't. So I'm not really bothered about whether or not you're breastfeeding in public or seeing nudity. Yeah. Not that my boobs are out everywhere, but it's kind of like I'm very comfortable to breastfeed, and also she's having a meal, so chill out. So I think if anything, maybe I might get a little bit of that, or like, she's nearly 2, what's going on? But it's been few and far between. But it's funny how that can just kind of it can try and start to encroach in your mind and your space, and it's always the external variables that can kind of really start to impact whatever amazingness you're doing, because like your son's used to you gigging and traveling and touring, right? So
he loves it. I mean, he's still, like, when I did the royal wedding, he was in nursery, and they knew, and they put like a script. It was like, Mummy, do you remember when I was in nursery, and they put like the projection of the royal wedding, and they were like, Aisha, there's your mum, and then he cried. It's like, and I cried. Like, it's just moments like that. Like, he will remember forever. Like, when I was pregnant, I shot video, and he was in my belly. You know, things like that. There's special moments that we're not. I know moments. We always say as parents, it goes so fast, and these moments are not going to be here. You should be there all the time. Like, but we've got so many special moments together. It's not just a normal, mundane, like, day-to-day life almost. Yeah. You make the moments. Yeah,
I agree with that, and you definitely have to, especially if travel is a big part of what you do. I think, and I hope for myself, and I hope for others as well, I think you do make, as you just said, the moments, right? Yeah. Because, we're in a weird little... amazing space, so we can make it.
We are very fortunate. Like, I don't for a minute feel my life doesn't suit everyone.
I get it.
People want to be stay-at-home mums and cooking and cleaning and doing the house stuff. Some people really love that,
and they excel at it, which is amazing.
Absolutely. It's just not for me. You know, think the last 6 months I've been at home. I haven't really been working much, and it has been a struggle.
Oh, really?
It has been a struggle, and I had to really look at myself.
Really?
I was like, okay, you really are not suited for a stay-at-home mum.
For like, was it the stillness? Because there's obviously stuff to do. There's gonna be things to do, right?
Oh my.
But
What did I do then? No, I didn't. It was like my life fell apart. The home fell apart. It's as if I always have to be doing. Like my house at the moment is fantastic. I've just come back from Spain. We had a week in Spain.
I was going to ask you how the tour was going as well.
Yeah, it's great. We've just started back with Jamie, and it was amazing. I had a few days in Madrid just to chill, and then the tour started.
Nice.
I tried to do that.
Yeah.
Which I think is really important to just get my mind right and in the space. But my home is fantastic right now. Everything's organised. Yeah. The washing's done. But before the last 6 months, I'll get Aisha ready for school, and I'm like, box set after box, like Netflix, like marathons. Yeah. I'm doing now I'm doing so many different things. Yeah. And I'm in that energy and space, and so many different things are coming towards me. You know, I'm manifesting it in my mind, and I'm feeling. That's great, but I think for me, you really need to work on yourself. Yeah. I am not my job.
Got it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Ooh, what steps have you taken, and how are you finding that? I mean, I know you're obviously back at work now, right?
Right. I've said how great I feel to Paul. I was like, I feel great now. I said, but it's made me, having that space actually, that last 6 months, and feeling that way has been enlightening, because I now know what I need to work on. Yeah. So I haven't made the steps yet because I'm working. Okay. However, the first thing is acknowledgement, isn't it? And, I'm not in denial of how I have been for the last 6 months. Yeah. I'm now realising, okay, you need to put steps in place, because work's not always going to be there. Mm-hmm. And you need to be grateful for your home life, and really make this a space of love. So you're not valued by your work. Okay. You don't need validation from anyone to be like, oh, look, she's doing, just being busy. And
is it a bit of pressure because of what we do? Do you mean like music, acting, whatever it is that we get into, both of these spaces, there's an element of you must keep working. Yeah. If that makes sense. Whether it's something that's self-imposed or that's something that's coming to us from external spaces, is there an element of that, just the pressure of working?
There is, and social media is just, as you know, blessing and a curse. Yeah. We get to share our gifts and inspire people and get what, showcase yourself. Yeah. However, when you are in dark places, as in not feeling great about yourself, or you're not the work, and then in turn, because you're feeling like that, actually, you're not getting anything, because you're not in the right vibration for it, to be quite honest. Yeah. You're feeling your confidence is not great, and then you've got this screen in front of you constantly the whole day, seeing a snapshot of everyone's perfect lives or great things that they're doing or they're traveling. Yeah. You get to it's just a constant cycle of self-doubt. Yeah. And lack of confidence, and seeing everyone doing everything where you're not. Yeah. I had January, I decided to come off for 6 weeks. I should have come off social media for longer than that. Okay. Because you think January's the quiet month. Yeah. But then when you go back and then it's not quiet and you see everyone doing
working or away and think, yeah. You
start to think, oh, my life's terrible.
Yeah. You're not busy. You're not doing this. Right. I'm not saying, I've only had the one job or the one gig or the whatever.
But then look at your life. You've got to look. I've got a beautiful child. I've got a beautiful home. I've got a beautiful family. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to try my best to have regular breaks, but also not show. Be real with people. Let everyone know that, okay, I am on tour and I'm traveling, but this is a snapshot. It's not always like this. Yeah. 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 I don't want anyone to feel how I felt. Yeah. It's not, in their hearts. I know it's a snapshot.
And I definitely sit in that space because I'm like, if it took 50 takes of one picture before I put that one up, right? Or this or the other. I know that, but I have people often say that to me where like, Rach, but don't forget, because you're forever compounded by these perfect images all the time, it can be easy for you or for some people to fall into a space of like, oh shit, my life isn't like that, or how are they doing so well? So it's easy for people to sit into that space. And a friend of mine, Amber, she was on this pod actually a couple of times. She was just like, even like the whole mum life, the mum influencers or whoever else in that space where it looks perfect. Yeah. And you're like, wait, I just managed to give them a bath, or I just managed to make sure dinner time went really well, whatever else. She's like, how do they do that? And B, it's not healthy for people to see that and think that motherhood with 5 kids or 2 kids, whatever else, is a walk in the park. So I get the conflict. I really, really do. And it's really nice to see it feels like there's a bit of an emergence of people who are they're almost like trying to be anti-influencers. We're not trying to get you to buy that product or to spend money on this or like be honest or be real about the spaces that you're in. So I think that's great to see. And I think even for myself, I don't think I know what I'm doing with my socials at the moment, but I kind of, anything motherhood, I'm definitely frank about it because I mean my home does not look like the way it used to, which drives me nuts. Laundry is not my best friend. I didn't know that there was this much laundry to do. I didn't. And the thing is, like, from Zena being 0 to, I don't even know when the shift happened, 0 to 6 months, maybe 0 to 5, we didn't do this much laundry. No way. Now laundry is a joke. It's in every picture, it's in everything. So now I'm just like, it's a part of my life now. So I think wherever I can just be quite honest about things, I will be. But it can really compound when you're seeing your peers, I guess, I think maybe others can say this in their industries, but I think with our industries, music and film, it can look really like, oh, sorry, what gig are you on? Oh, I didn't hear about that audition. I didn't hear about that thing. And it can really kind of like, ugh. Yeah. But again, as we said, you got that gig, but you might not work for the next 6 months or next 2 months or next year or whatever the thing is.
Absolutely.
Mad intense.
And you know what? Another thing I've said to myself, I don't want to look at anything and have any negative towards them. Yeah. I want to look at them and give them like, oh my God, look at you. That's amazing. Yeah. And when you're feeling terrible about yourself, no matter what you think, no matter what you say to your outwardly, there's an element of negativity that you're spreading there because you are literally thinking of yourself. Yeah. I don't want that. I want to look at people and be like, oh,
celebrate that with
amazing.
Them,
right? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like parenting side of it, like you said. So when I first had Aisha, that was the beginning of YouTube.
Okay. Yeah.
I had a little YouTube channel back in the day.
Oh, so did I, and I just gave up. And mine was like beauty and stuff, and I was like, I can do this. Yeah. But again, props to people in that space who do it properly because, oh my gosh, the time, the effort, the editing, even this, it's intense. But yeah, what was yours about?
Oh no, it was just like me doing music and having my son and stuff like that. Just he loves it. He watches it back now.
Oh,
like, Mummy, when are you going to start your YouTube channel back again? I was like, son, I'm not sure. But yeah, it was the space of seeing these. That was great for me to see mothers being family oriented, like just families.
That's amazing. Yeah,
it was great. And then it was a thing of. Then it started to be very about brands and selling and this.
So you can chart that change, or you remember that shift?
Yeah, totally. Wow. There were so many things I bought.
Yeah, as a result of.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Like that I don't need.
Yeah.
Like I didn't use the potty bit, the bin for the nappies. Like, I didn't use it.
But you still got one.
I still got one. Yeah. But that was a good time. I mean, to be inspired or to have tips, it's priceless.
Yeah, I agree.
Free tips from other mums that are doing it and doing it well. Yeah. Is great because we just hear from our parents and sometimes we're a little bit resilient to hear because we're like, we've got our own trauma, like, well, that didn't work for me, so why do I have to listen to you? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's hard. We have to give them some grace.
Yeah, no, for sure. And at the end of the day, I think I know everybody, and this is, I guess, a bit of a general statement, but I think everybody does the best that they can, and you do the best with what you know, and you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
I love it, all the vague statements, but they all make sense. So it's understanding that. I was going to ask you what your journey through motherhood was like, and what was that like? And I guess, did you feel informed with what was going to happen or what you were going through?
What, during pregnancy?
During pregnancy to birthing, yeah.
I had the best pregnancy.
Amazing.
I had the best pregnancy. I loved it. I worked. He came 4 days after I stopped working.
Ah, cool. Yeah.
4 days. He was 2 weeks early.
Okay.
He was like, nah, she's not resting.
I'm ready now.
Yeah, I'm ready now. But not so, because my labour was 18 and a half hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It wasn't traumatic. It was painful, and I didn't love it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to come. He wanted to come and then didn't want to come. So just in pain constantly, contractions.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm.
I had a water birth.
Oh, nice.
No, well, I had.
Oh, you started
in the water. And I was like, this isn't doing nothing anyway. Think like 17 hours in, they were like, okay, we need to take you to the delivery suite.
Okay.
And my mum was in the room. My mum was in the room with me. Paul was there. Paul was falling asleep. I was like, wake up. My mum was like, oh, worried. And then we went to the delivery suite. She's like, Aisha, do not let them give you an epidural. Your back's going to hurt forever. And I'm like, Mum, at this point, whatever's needed. So they were about to give me an epidural, and he said, no, I'm coming. And so my son, he does what he wants when he wants to.
Yeah. From day dot, essentially.
But the overall pregnancy journey was great.
Yeah.
I was very active.
Cool.
And I was like, I don't want to sit down. I think if I was to do it again now, I would like to be pampered.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, that's a nice way to go for sure. Were you very active because of work and things like that? Or just
social work, but then also I sang.
Yeah.
Like I was singing, I was doing gigs and stuff like that, and in the choir, and it was great to be active. I felt good. I think I felt the healthiest I'd ever felt.
Same. I was super active. I was still going to the gym. I was still gigging up until I think I actually stopped. My last gig, I was 6 months pregnant at the time, and I was again, for me, the whole process was I was just in such awe of what my body was doing and what other bodies do with this, right? That was incredible. And I think I reached a point where I knew physically, okay, you've got to stop now, and that was it. But it was amazing to kind of feel her reacting to what was going on around her and things. So I also felt I wanted to be as active as I could be. Yeah. But yeah, did you feel like you had, I guess now there may be the argument that there's too much information, but I'm definitely a give me all the information kind of person. Did you feel like you knew what to expect?
Well, I used to watch One Born
every minute. Oh my gosh.
I was obsessed, but I had the mic. People were like, how can you watch that? It's so scary. I was like, no, I know everyone's different.
Yeah. Okay, that's really
My
good.
pregnancy could be amazing and it could be terrible. My mum had 6 of us.
Yeah.
I was outside the door when my mum had my younger sister.
Were you?
Crying. Yeah, my sister Shakira. I heard her first cry and I was like crying. I was like,
She's here.
Yeah. So I've seen, she's a G at the end of the day, because she had 6 of us and she didn't grumble. She didn't come out with like, oh, I know it's painful.
Yeah.
You know, the expectation, might go through some pain here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
a little bit.
It is what that's the mindset I went in.
Yeah.
It was more painful than I thought.
Yeah.
But I didn't go in there with any expectation.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's cool. In terms of what was I going to say? I think now we have things like, there's more conversations around hypnobirthing, or this, your choices, what you can have, not have. I know you said the pregnancy was awesome. Did you feel supported within this system? If that was that even a thought? Do you know what I mean?
I had one expectation I did have is that you'd have you watch movies, American movies, and then you have the same doctor and you know who's going to be there on the day. It's not like that. Yeah. Or that your water's going to break and then you're going to have to start pushing. You know, I did have that kind of mindset.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's the only thing. Supportive of the system.
if that was even a thought, because I know this is now, we're focusing on that a lot more now today, right?
Yeah.
Because things are shifting in that regard. Like there's this need or this want for transparency, right? Which is amazing.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that would have been.
It wasn't on the
prevalent.
forefront of my mind. I booked my own personal, like, private scans. So I did like a 3D scan because I just felt like, how do you know? I just wanted to check the baby was all right. So before I had my son, I had a miscarriage. Okay. I can speak about it freely because I am the sort of person that I didn't allow it to connect with my spirit somehow.
Okay.
And I never really, we got pregnant 6 months later, and I was like, okay, that wasn't meant to be. And it was very early on. And then at the beginning of my pregnancy with Aisha, I started spotting, but I had a gig in Rome.
Okay.
And I went to the hospital just before we were going out. Look, we can't scan you until you get back. So I had that weekend. I thought I was like having another miscarriage.
Yeah.
But I was still like, okay, sing.
Okay.
Didn't connect with it. Got back, had the scan, and I mean, he's here. So that was great. There was an element in those two situations of NHS, the hospital, not really comforting you.
Okay.
It's just a thing.
Quite matter of fact.
Okay, it may be this, it may be that, it might not be. Not rather like, there was no... Maybe that was a good thing, actually, for me, to not connect with it so much.
The not connecting so much of it, was that more you personality thing or a cultural thing?
I think, do you know what, probably a bit of both. When I did have the miscarriage, I was working.
Oh, there goes my stomach. Never mind. Classic.
I was singing at the Royal Variety show with Gary Barlow. I remember it.
Yeah.
And there's some bits on telly, and I was like,
there I am.
You having a miscarriage there.
Oh my.
And then I was in the studio. I was working with Paloma, like doing some stuff on her album, and I was standing and I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe because I was just working and I wasn't allowing what was happening to... My sisters used to say this to me a lot, that I used to live in a little bubble.
Okay.
Like, I used to protect myself from things like penetrating my spirit.
Okay.
I used to live like that a lot. And I now look back at it. I don't look back at it as a negative thing. I look at it as I was really protecting my heart because I am emotional and I'm so sensitive and I'm empathic to others. Yeah. But when it's myself, I feel like I have to get on with it and be strong. And I think that's a cultural thing for sure. Yeah. I grew up in a home with 6 younger sisters, eldest daughter. My mum did a lot of it on her own. So I was the next one and I had to be strong and I didn't want them to have to go through things that I had seen or gone through. Yeah. So I tried my best to, okay, I'll take that. Yeah. And then everything's fine. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, of course, yeah.
I wish I was a bit more like that now. Now I'm like, I can't get out of bed. Life's shit. You know what I mean? Like I feel like my bubble's just like burst. And now I'm like,
no, everything is like impacting you, which obviously has its beautiful moments for sure. And then sometimes it's like, how do I get that?
Well, I'm like, get a grip, babe. Get a grip. Like, come on now. Days. Like, look at the great stuff in your like. You have to. It's a before it was just natural. Yeah. Now it's like a constant. Okay, I have to work on my mind. Yeah. Have to work on my mind powers. Before I just did it. Yeah. Like law of attraction. I was like, great things are coming. Boom. Like, I do have my personality is one of silver lining. Love like, there's always a silver lining. Yeah. I always have hope. And I try and instill that in my people. Like, if they'll tell me something, could be a bit annoying actually. If they tell me something that's happening, I'm like, well, maybe it's because this great thing's there
on its way, or it's that. Yeah, I get that.
I try, and they're like, I just want to live in this darkness for this moment.
Yeah, I get it.
Right, yeah. But I find it harder to do that for myself. That's more of an effort. I do it, but I have to be like, come on, Aisha.
Yeah. It's always the way, right? I think because you are yourself, which random statement, but you're always, I think it's always easier to look at on others, right? And how to make their space better or easier. And I find like I'm sure there are so many people that can echo with this. I have the best advice and the best tips and stuff for everybody else. And even though I may know it applies to me or I can use that, it will take me a second or a minute to get to that space for
yourself.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, me looking at the culture side of it, whenever my mum would talk about things like that, miscarriages or any issues, things like that, she's very much like, you know what? If it happens, forget about it. Don't think about it. Kind of move on. And I can understand the thinking of it being, when something negative or unexpected has happened, not to let it deter you from what you were trying to achieve, or to put you in a space where you, I guess, in a quote unquote dark space or sad space, and you're not going to move forward. I get that, but at the same time, it's like we should find as best we can, right, those moments to acknowledge that, or to come to some sort of resolution personally, because it could pop up in another way down the line. Absolutely. Again, not something that she would have reiterated to me, because again, I don't think she would have had the time. It was more about how you get through, how you get it done. So
I totally understand that. I do feel like there has been some manifestation, like or just if I had been comforted, or I allowed people to comfort me and know how or really deep down, like be vulnerable, people would, like some family members, they're like, oh, I forgot you had that, like, and it's almost like it's like that. Okay. Rather than like, oh yeah, you did go through that, didn't you? Yeah. Got you. Comfort, you know? Yeah. Rather more like just an acknowledgement, but like not a dismissal either, but it's like, oh, like they had someone that went through that, and like, oh, I feel so like, oh yeah, I get it. I've been just like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Like not acknowledging just the comfort, the comfort that a woman would need. Yeah. And even though I've been through it, you're not giving me that same comfort because I have been so strong. I didn't think it mattered to you. Almost like that, you know? Yeah, I get you. But it does, but not in the way. Maybe I'm just not vulnerable in those situations. I feel like I have to be. I feel like you're right. I have to be strong to certain people. I got it. Yeah. To be able to say, come on. Yeah. No, I hear you. And also even... not even trying to extend a certain type of grace to anybody else. I think because it's a topic that we don't talk about much, or perhaps we're entering into a space where we are talking about it more. I think people don't know what to say, don't know how to handle it, don't know what to ask or not ask, and don't necessarily realize the impact it can have on a person. Because growing up, it wasn't really something I heard about. I think I knew about it, but I didn't really focus that much on it until maybe I started having a friend here or a friend there who would have gone through it. Yeah. And that would have been my first real experience of it. I know my mum had one before she had me, but even again in the way she tells that story, it's not quite understanding what's happening to her body. It's happened, but then you move on. Absolutely. And then however soon after, then I came along. Yeah. But to have a friend who went through it and it was very harrowing and very traumatic, or then to have a friend who had it and then it was very almost matter of fact, but didn't realize there were going to be things in that process, like how it was happening, and being in the hospital and maybe taking medication to aid it so it doesn't impact you negatively. Having that process being done in the hospital, or being abroad or living in a different country and having that process and you're sent home. But then when things, when it exits your body, what you have to do with that, how you deal with that, and or that there's so many parts to it that you don't think about because it hasn't happened to you, or you don't know about it, and then you're having to deal with it in the moment. And also understanding that it's also a part of getting pregnant, where miscarriages happen quite often when you're falling pregnant. Well, so when you feel pregnant, they say it's a miracle, and it's kind of like that's partly why. So it's understanding where it sits in all things fertility and birth. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I know. So I've had 2 miscarriages. Okay. I know that because the first time I had a pregnancy, we must have been about 4 weeks, I took a pregnancy test.
Okay.
I missed my period.
Yeah.
So it's early on. I haven't experienced the whole going to hospital, having to do all those things. So that's probably another thing why I was able to be like, it's okay. The second time I was on tour and I came back, I was feeling sick. My period was not due yet. It wasn't due for like 3-4 days.
Okay.
But I was feeling sick. I was like, babe, this is unusual sickness. Like, I'm not hungover from tour. So I was like, I need to go and take a pregnancy test. Took a pregnancy test.
Yeah.
It came back positive. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. The next day, I started bleeding and it was a period. Now, if I didn't feel sick, I would never have taken a pregnancy test.
Got you.
And I would have thought I'm just having my period.
Yeah.
So it made me go, wow, there are so many of us, women, that actually get pregnant and don't even know that you're pregnant and have a miscarriage, but it's your period. You think it's your period. Yeah. And it did actually give me a little bit of comfort to feel like, you know what, this is just part of life, and this could be happening to all of us. Yeah. And we just don't know it.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's just
now
something
we weren't trying at the time.
Yeah.
We are now, which is also a different headspace.
Right? And it's a different, I always say this, the energy and the work that goes into being told, do not fall pregnant, don't get pregnant, do not fall pregnant, versus what it means to try and get pregnant or how to fall pregnant. Like, the conversations are so very different.
Absolutely.
I get why, I guess, to an extent, and especially if it's an age-related thing, etc. But there's so many things that you just don't know and you don't get to think about until you're in the moment, and now you're having to do your research.
Absolutely.
So you may have made different choices to get pregnant younger or maybe get pregnant older, whatever the thing would be, but we're not given that information. You have to go looking for it if you want to be a mum.
Yeah.
Right? Now I'm going to cough. Great.
Right. Do you know what's when you say if you want to be a mum? That's what I wanted to speak to you with about. At the moment, there's so many women that are coming out saying, you know, yesterday I saw a post. This woman, the reason why she looks so young. Is
oh my gosh, I saw that too.
You see it? I was like, I look
child-free, genetics,
yes.
or like stress-free, or whatever the thing was.
Right. And it feels like almost as if also someone that I know, she's an actress.
Yeah.
Presenter, comedian. She came out and said, I don't want children, etc. And that, which is fine.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just the way that she said it was like, actually, being a mum and having is this kind of like less than thing, and you can't
like,
achieve.
you won't make it. You
won't make it.
You won't do it.
Listen, if we stood up there and was like, you know, being the mum's the best thing, which we can say. Yeah. I don't know how, you know, you guys do it that haven't got the family and a mum. And we would never. Each to their own. You've got to give everyone. You don't want this life that I've got as a mum.
Yeah.
Amazing. Go and enjoy your life, babe. But you can't then look at someone else who has chose to have a family and a life and be like, that is less than. Yeah.
And it's interesting. I think as a mum, if you were to turn around and sort of wear that badge and be similar to anyone who's come out and been like, you know, oh my gosh, I don't know how you do it, not having kids, not having a partner, or whatever else. The attack that you would get for shaming other women.
How could you shame a childless person, a mum, or a woman?
Like, because, you know, you don't know what they're going through. Maybe they can't have kids, or maybe they tried, or maybe they're, which is also very true. Maybe they have faced all those things and they've decided not to have a kid. Right. But to flip it the other way, like, oh my gosh, you could never be Oprah if you had kids. No. That's just like, that's wild.
Why? Because we want to protect your feelings.
Yeah.
But you don't want to protect a mother's feelings. It's like her feeling less than, or that she couldn't achieve, or she can't achieve. Yeah. Because, all right, there are some limits. But I tell you what, if I really put my mind to anything, we can all do everything we want to do.
100%. And the fact that there are mothers who still have careers, or are pursuing their careers, or making changes in their careers, or being the best stay-at-home mum that there is, all of these things take work.
All of those things are success.
There we go.
Because what is success?
Right.
It's subjective.
Exactly. Each to their own. You're also contributing to society in this particular way, where you're literally birthing a nation. Right. This is not a joke.
Right.
And if it's something that you choose to do, and, you know, God willing, and you do everything to the best of your ability, that's phenomenal. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So to try and downplay it and make it sound like it's less than, it just like, I feel like it boggles the mind. It kind of still lets you know where people still place women, and it also lets you know where other women place women, or where we're still, our mindset still hasn't switched to the space of really understanding what sisterhood is, and understanding what sisterhood looks like across the board, regardless of your ethnicity or your profession or your income or whatever else. So in those moments or in those conversations, I feel like it kind of really shows you, if you're going to be out here trying to talk about feminism or the patriarchy this or white supremacy this or whatever else, it kind of lets me know how much those tools are still working on you, and you're standing there thinking that that's your own voice. Fair enough if that's your perspective and that's what you genuinely believe, blah 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 blah, and this is me trying to give all the disclaimers and make the space for it. But I think if you really stood in a space of respect and loving women, you couldn't say that. You just couldn't.
Absolutely.
You understand you have the right to make your own choice. You just couldn't.
Us looking at a stay-at-home mother, and making them less than. That is hard work. I couldn't do it because I can't cope with doing that, which means that's hard work to me. Do you know what I mean? We are all different. We all have our, abilities. We just have to give each other grace and love. Surely. And just look at and just be like, fantastic. This is being a stay-at-home mum is your success. Running a home and having your family is your success. People sometimes will look at that and be like, they couldn't possibly. Why could they possibly want that? Oh, they gave up this and that. No. Some people are born.
And that was just we had someone step into the studio just because. So we were mid moment. We had stuff to say. God damn it.
No, but you know what I mean. Like, it. You just have a success is subjective. You have to give everyone their flowers. Not everyone can do what everyone can do.
It's true. And sorry, even just running a home and running a home well is not easy. And the thing is, I think. In those situations, I love when people say, like, if they have something negative to say, that's great. It's like, let's do a wife swap, but like a life swap, where you come in for a week and run a household with 2 kids, or even run a household with 1 kid, and sort of see how that goes. All right, let me close the studio door because now it's just getting weird. But it's always disappointing seeing that kinds of stuff. I think everything has its positives, everything has its pros and cons. You pick, choose your lane.
I feel like there's so much. This is great. Podcast, inspiring, but it also gives people the space to just make people feel like shit. Like, and I always say, what you have to remember is they're going through whatever they're going through. Their opinion of you is not your business. It doesn't matter. They're not paying your bills. They just comment sections anywhere. I always go like go to the comments and read, and I'm like sometimes I'm like, stop being mean. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, come on, like, do you not realise that people are human beings?
And that's the sad thing where I just think we live in such a weird time. I think we're so, again, this is me not trying to be on a like negative Nelly situation. Just like, we're so disconnected. We're so desensitized.
There's no grace.
No.
There's no grace for anyone. No one's allowed to let their, crown slip slightly without someone just getting the thing going. You.
Rather than helping you with the crown back. It's such a... For me, sometimes it can feel like it's such a sad time, but then I understand how far we've come and so many things have improved, or this is amazing, and being able to access certain things that you wouldn't have had the chance to. But it can be really frustrating, and this can be me being really frustrated at humanity and seeing such inhumane things happening. Where do you know what? Actually, having a child, that was my biggest. Not reluctance, but my biggest conflict.
Right.
Why bring a child into a world where things as Rachel rolls her eyes, as insane as the color of one's skin is still volatile and horrifying and scary and all the rest of it, or being a woman is this, or your religion is this, all this kinds of
and
stuff.
like, even with in our own race, like,
mate,
I wish, and I'm not, as a fair-skinned woman with straight hair, like, I remember primary school, people used to, like, your dad's white. And I was like, no, he's not. Because I only saw my mum, really.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, no, he's not, he's black. And my dad was like, black is beautiful. He's like, that guy.
Oh, I love that.
So I'm like, from a young age, I'm like, I'm black. And then we have this like, now it's like the, colorism. Because I'm not downplaying how people feel. Like, but because I'm so pro, it sometimes breaks my heart. Yeah. Like that I've had racism. I've lived in Essex. I've worked in a place where it's just white people. Yeah. And I was treated differently. Yeah. And because my mindset is that I'm black, it is because I'm black. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I've had my own struggle. I'm not saying anyone hasn't had, but it's almost like it's downplayed almost within our own race. Yeah. You go to America, someone like me would be black. Yeah. And here I'm not seen as black, even though my parents are both black. Yeah. Yeah. So like you're saying, bringing a child into this world, we have to be that change to them. Yeah. We can only instill the love and the joy and try and equip them with what's to come. Yeah. And the challenges they're going to have. But have hope in our heart that they're going to be some sort of change in there, even if it's in their small little environment. Yeah. They're going to have this little imprint in this world to make a small change somehow. Yeah. We can't think that the world's going to change.
It's true. You're going to start in your community, whether it's your community of friends, whether it's your community where you live, and you do the work there, and it does spread out. It kind of vibrates out. And it's true. I had someone say that to me because I don't know what happened. I think it was with ex-partner at the time with his dad. We were just having a conversation, and his dad is I'm trying to describe his ethnicity, a white male, but he was born and raised in America, lived in the UK, and lived in South Africa, and we were just having a conversation. And I think I was just frustrated at the state of the world. I think something was happening in Africa, and I was kind of like, I don't even know which country in Africa, but either way, I was kind of like, Africa needs to have the opportunity to do things for herself or without there being such external influences moving the pawns on the board, doing all this kinds of stuff. And I kind of said to him, I didn't know where to begin in terms of what kind of work I wanted to do, because I want to do things in Ghana. I wasn't sure if I wanted to look at education or a charity or this or that. So I wasn't sure where to go. And he said to me, he was just like, you know what, rather than looking at the world or looking at Africa and being overwhelmed by all these issues or all these problems or the things that you think you want to contribute and fix, just pick one thing, look at how you can impact your space, whether it's your space here in this country, whether it's your space in Ghana, and just do that one thing in that space, and then you build on that, and then you build on that, and from there you're gonna end up attracting people that can kind of help on that journey. Yeah. And it was all very much common sense, but the way he was able to break it down, as in just like, you know what, just one step at a time, is essentially what he was saying, because otherwise you're gonna get overwhelmed with everything, and that's how I felt. It's
just gonna look like this huge
mess.
Task. Yeah, it's just not
possible. Yeah. That's it. So even like having a kid, like that was one thing I'd speak to Max from time to time, and it's always been something I've thought about anyway growing up. It was just like, I'm choosing to bring someone here who didn't choose to come here. This is all down to you. So is this a very selfish thing? Is this a very human thing? Because sometimes I'm in a space like, aren't you most selfish little fuckers in the world? But it was like, I'm choosing to do this. We're choosing to do this. And I'm going to bring you here. Now you've got to tackle or face all the obstacles that are here. Hopefully it'll be better by the time you get to a certain age where things could impact you. But you didn't have a say. And now the climate is this, or there's this brink of war, or there's this, or the food is this, or this is shit, this is shit. How do I reconcile that? How do I protect you from that? How do I give you the tools to face that? How do you forgive me from that if it becomes a thing? That was definitely something that was such a conflict for me. And sometimes it can happen now because I can look at her and be like, oh my days.
Yeah.
What's to come now? Do you mean based on the news that we're seeing, all the conflicts around the world? And it's just like, fuck. So I don't even know how we got here, but we may just have to move to Ghana. And that's Paul the end of that.
No, and then
you can grow your own food. It's constant sunlight. Like there's no pesticides or whatever crap in your food because it was in your garden.
Send us to war.
No, I mean that too.
Do you know what I mean?
Like to me.
We've had this conversation. We've had recently about possibly moving to Ghana and like building from there.
Yeah.
You know, because as much as like bloodline, my parents are not from there, but my sister's dad is, and I've known since I was 5 years old. Yeah. And I've been with Paul for 23 years. Wow. We've been together. Woo. So Ghana is part of my stepdad, my stepdad and my father-in-law. You know?
Yeah.
My food, like that's spinach stew is my food.
There you go. You know it.
Like, so yeah. I get what you're saying, but we also, do you ever think to yourself, we're not always going to get it right? So all these things we're trying to instill in our child, we are also still learning because we didn't have parenting like that.
Yeah.
The books, the inspiration, they might not be right.
Yeah.
You know, and we're always constantly evolving. Like sometimes I look at my son, I'm like, I wish I hadn't done that in that way.
Yeah.
I'll look at his person, I'm like, oh, that's because
Oh, yeah?
Do you know what I mean? Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. I hope to, my mom's always had a very honest relationship with me, maybe too honest. My mom has no filters whatsoever. So I hope to have that type of communication and relationship with Zena and any other kids that we have if we choose to. So that means then, because we're always gonna have such communication and dialogue, I hope to not find myself in a position of like I shouldn't have, because we would have been able to communicate that through. She said, however, right, you're also the parent. Yeah. So they're also not meant to know what the weaknesses are or the flaws are. So I think I just live in hope. Yeah. I really, really do. And the thing is like, you're going to mess up your kids somehow. Yeah. I don't want to, but I think it's all part of the process and part of the learning.
Absolutely.
So I hope it's just not colossal.
Yeah.
And I just hope that she is as well-rounded as an individual as possible. And I know she's going to be. But yeah, there is that element of you don't know what you don't know. So I'm always going to do my best to be as aware as I can be. But I know she's going to face things that I wouldn't have faced or I handled in a very different way. So I think there's a lot of hope going on.
Yeah. And also, like, my partner always says to me, you give yourself such a hard time. Like, any little thing, like, I'll be like, that's it, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not that deep, number one. Number two, any kind of mistakes that you feel that you've made with your children as they're growing, we can heal that.
Yeah. And
that's
we know how
the
to,
thing.
Which is amazing.
Right.
That's a great way to actually look at it as well.
Because we have the knowledge to. Our parents didn't have that up to now. It's just like, I didn't do that. Yes, you did. Do you know what I mean? Whereas we hold ourselves accountable. Mm-hmm. I don't mind saying to my 9-year-old son, do you know what, son? Sorry. Sorry I reacted in that way. Mummy's just not having a bad day. I shouldn't react in that way. Because I tell you what, I don't want my son to communicate with someone at school like that. Yeah. You know? I don't want him to be like, like I would if I'm having a bad day. Like, so I've had to like go, sorry, son. Yeah. And my mum would never have said sorry. What? Like, for what? Hey.
Listen to me. Oh my gosh, I love that you did that. No, but it's like, I'm trying to think of what my mum said. Sorry, my mum, no way. I think now it's becoming a part of her vocabulary. Bless her.
Yeah,
so it's sweet. Yeah, so it's quite sweet to see. It's funny to see. Obviously, some apologies you would have wanted at the time of the event or whatever it is. But I think I'm one of 6. So we
same.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah. And we all have very, very similar in a lot of things, in a lot of ways, but our personalities with certain stuff are very different. So I think I'm very grateful that my relationship with my mum, our communication style had to change, and it changed quite early on because baby number 3, baby of change, baby of mischief. I'm always asking questions. So I don't think she couldn't raise me the way she did with the first two. It just it wasn't going to work for me at all. So I'm glad that we were able to find that connect and break certain things. But so I think the amount of sorries that she may have had to give to me were a lot less compared to the first two, I think.
Yeah.
But even so, I also had to understand that my mum is never gonna apologize for X, Y, and Z. So I had to find my way of dealing with that and finding a peace to that.
Absolutely.
And understanding that sorry wasn't gonna set me free in any which way, because I already have a thing, right?
You have to let go for you.
Yeah.
It's not for the other person.
Yeah.
Letting
really
go is it's the most amazing thing, isn't it?
Difficult to do for sure, but
wow, it takes time.
Yeah,
it takes time, and you have to. Sometimes you actually like letting go. If anything, you have to remove yourself. You can't. So personally, I have to remove myself.
Yeah,
heal a bit, work on me, then I can come back and give you grace and love you again. You know?
Yeah.
And just let go of things.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, I know obviously you gig, you tour. I don't know if rather than going I don't know, ask, are there any creative projects that you work on for yourself? And if so, how has motherhood impacted that?
Oh, I've not, it's all been music orientated. I am currently working on a podcast.
Nice. What's it called? What's it
It's
about?
called Get Bunky.
I love
It's
it.
with one of my best friends, Mark. He's also my partner with Jamie, backing vocalist.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. And it's all about tour stories, basically.
Oh, nice.
On tour,
Woo!
Backstage. Yeah. Not just tour on music. We said actually, like, because one of my close friends, he's an actor, and he has done tours with theatre. Yeah. So I want that kind of vibe, like what happens backstage.
Wow.
Yeah. Like backstage, open the curtain, backstage sort of vibes. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that.
I feel like you're gonna have some stories.
Yeah. So that's gonna be fun. We haven't started recording yet, but I've got all the parts together. And
amazing.
It's just about pushing through the door and starting it. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Amazing. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be hilarious. Have you did Mark start touring with Jamie at the same time that you did?
No.
Okay.
So I started touring with Jamie with my sister, Shayna.
Okay. Yes, of course, because she sings as well.
Yeah, she sings. So it was the two of us on tour.
Yeah.
And she had some other projects, and then COVID happened, and she didn't want to do it. Well, she couldn't do it anymore. So she said, "Why don't you just ask Mark?" And I was like, "I don't know." I don't know if they want a guy. They might want a girl. And they were like, she's like, no, it'd be great. And I mean, like, he's the most amazing human.
Oh, I love that.
And he's just slotted in. You know what? I've worked with Jamie now for 6 years. And him and the band are just amazing. It's made me look at the music industry slightly different.
Okay, that's great.
The fact that he's very successful, and he's just such a beautiful human. Amazing. To everyone, and treats us so well. Great. So that's great. I feel very, very blessed. Yeah, because that's very blessed. Yeah, that's not always necessarily the case. Be it on tours, be it on more function gigs and things. And I don't. Not everyone can be. But I feel like my mental health is more important than that check. I've had gigs where I'm working with an artist and I've not gone back. Like, I'm like, do you know what, babe? I'm so sorry, but I've got all of the notes, the songs, the harmonies. I'm going to send it all to you, and here's your dep. Thank you. I'm okay. Yeah. Like, I will not work with environments that are not conducive to my happiness. Yeah, I had to learn that, and there are some spaces it's not worth it. Absolutely at all. And not. It's as simple as that. Your mental health isn't. And if someone's going to treat you, sorry guys, I'm probably shaking my head. If only you knew. And this is such a space of, like, when I feel like that's like a real life Instagram where it can look amazing on stage or on this or at this venue or in this location, this destination. It can look phenomenal, and you're dressed up and you're wearing all the this and the it looks
dope.
Yeah.
But when I say to you in that green room or on that behind the curtain on the stage,
Right.
listen to me. It's
Well,
not.
do you know what? I don't even have to. I don't even. It doesn't even have to be directed at me.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree.
If I see you treating I'm like, I'm all right, you know.
Because you can definitely treat me like that, and also I don't want to stand by and watch you do whatever to someone else.
No, you could be kissing my ass, and then you're treating someone.
Yeah,
and it's the beginning of our relationship. I'm like, I'm all right.
Yeah,
I don't need to be here.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
And because my heart is pure in that, doors open.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna for a check. Yeah. Absolutely not, because it will hurt my heart seeing people being mean.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to your podcast. Please let me know when it's out, because I'm gonna be listening with my two.
Hope it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be. I'm loving podcasting so much.
Oh,
I had one with a group of friends during lockdown, and we stopped it, which still breaks my heart to this day. But it's been so much fun, and also you just don't know what. We all go through the same things so much, and you just don't know what's going to connect with people and how it's going to shift their perspective or shift their energy. So it's great. It's the motivation for this. Yeah. This was definitely born out of being a mum, but it's like there's just so much that I learnt on the journey to pregnancy, partly because I am definitely that geek who will research and read up on everything. But then it was understanding how much we weren't told pre the journey. Yeah. And even on the journey, how much you're finding out. Yeah. And it was like, if I can have this space, whether it becomes archived or whatever it is, where people can tap in and dip in when they want to for the information, like this is great.
Yeah,
and
totally.
If you're self-employed as well, it's a whole other obstacle. If you want to become a mum or a parent and you're not quite sure how to balance it, to hear from people who are doing it day in, day out, it's phenomenal. So it's gonna be fun.
And I've listened and seen a few of them. Miguel, Annabelle.
Yeah. Hey. Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Another amazing mum who is just
smashing it.
Yeah.
And making sure she is Annabelle and she is mum, which is great.
Oh,
so
right,
having that balance is
so important.
Yeah, for sure.
So important.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you something to do with balancing being self-employed and motherhood, and that's totally skipped my brain. But essentially, that's where I was gonna go. It was more like, what are your bit general, I think, to say what are your tips or your tricks or your hacks, but how do you manage it? I know, yes, you do have a partner, yes, you do have a support system, which obviously adds to it all. But for you, on like a one-to-one with your baby, how do you balance being a self-employed mom and being a mum?
I have to be very organised. Everything has to work like clockwork. I know I'm on top. Like, I'll be away and Paul's calling me. He's calling me about the air fryer. I know. I'm like, okay, this and this. You know, I'm still a mum. Yeah. Like, I'm still a partner. Like, but I'm at work. You know, with regards to me and my son, like, I realised recently we tried to not do it's been a struggle to have him sleep in his bed.
Okay.
For example, this is an example. Yeah. I've had to just realise, before I know it, he's going to be 13 and he's not going to want to snuggle. Yeah. I was like, come here, son. Yeah. I don't want because I'm away sometimes, I don't want when I'm at home to be, regimented. I'm like, come, let's snuggle. Yeah. Like, he's a snuggle. Snuggler. Like, the other day I was like, Lush, all these teddies on the bed. I said, maybe, like, is it time to, like, he's like, Mummy, I love my teddies. I said, Lush, do you think when you're 13 you'll have your teddies? He's like, yes. I said, son, you're your mum's child. Yeah. Snuggle. Oh. Like, so we'll always try and, like, mother, like, family-wise, before I go on tour, to go to dinner before I go away. Nice. You know, we'll FaceTime every single day. Yeah. In the morning, I'll wake up, try my best, depending on where I'm in the world, to wake up early to make sure that we FaceTime before school. When I finish his school, I'll call to find out how he's getting on. Did he do his homework? Did he do his project? Yeah. You know, I'm still parenting. Yeah. I'm working and juggling. But I do have a partner. Yeah. I often say to Paul, I don't know how I would be able to do it if I was on my own. Okay. I also say I don't know if I'd be able to do it if he was the one going. Fair. Like, I'm like, listen, we all know who we are. I'm not in denial. Like, I am someone that would need, no, not the parenting side or being at home, just him being away.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very spoiled. I just feel spoiled. Not spoiled, but I'm grateful.
Yeah.
Like, granted, it's not perfect by all means, and I hope to God that I'm doing the best things that I can for our life. Right. But I feel very, very grateful at the moment.
That's awesome. During pregnancy, I found that everybody started a project of some kind.
Yeah.
Do you remember if you started one, and is it still going?
I started doing the vlogging.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. That was it.
I wouldn't say it's still going. It's still there in the ethos.
Yeah.
But I did then start doing I do like a lot of Instagram story stuff.
Cool.
I enjoy talking on the Instagram and the camera. I don't mind doing that.
Yeah.
So I still do that sort of stuff. But yeah, no projects. Hopefully, if we get pregnant again, I can start something creative.
Yeah. From there and see. I'm so rubbish. Sometimes I'm so on it, and then I'm not. Then I'm on it, then I'm not. And like once you get into the flow of like talking to your camera and phone, it's really fun. I really enjoy it. And then I'll fall off it, and then it'll take me forever.
Totally.
I thought I was gonna really sit in the space of like not necessarily a mum influencer, but I figured I was gonna add that part of my life into all things social. Yeah. Like really, I have not. And I didn't see that coming. I actually also thought I'd have the time to and kind of show, this is my day, this is me and baby, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, I've got no time. And also, I found that I want to be as present as I can to Zena so much because I'm a very impatient person. What my daughter has taught me teaching me is patience, because clearly I'm not learning it from any other like chapter or sphere in my life. Pregnancy to me was like so slow because obviously it takes... You're growing a human. It's gonna take time. So I was just like, oh my gosh, day one, I don't look pregnant. Don't look pregnant.
Oh yeah.
So it took time to get there, and then she's here now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it is flying by. So it's again, can't please Rach, which is annoying, but at the same time, it's like, it just really, I try to use each part of this journey so far anyway to really be present to her and be present to what's going on, to what me and Max are experiencing and like the joys that we're having, the challenges that we're having, just because again, being impatient, I see how it can get me places or elevate me and push me in some spaces, but man, you can really miss a fuckload and not be grateful for what you've actually got. So that's what I've had to learn or learning.
Yeah. People sometimes think someone wrote once that grateful means that you're not worthy. They looked at it in that way, and I was like, no.
Flip it.
You flip it. Gratitude for this glass of water. Yeah. You know, the more grateful you... I remember we lived in an apartment. I really wanted a house, and I was not happy with it, so I wasn't grateful for the apartment. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? Come on, Ash. I started putting photos up, got plants. As soon as we were told we had to move. But I valued that space, and then we moved into a house. Until you're grateful for what you have, nothing better's coming. Bottom line, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%.
And it's difficult. It's a mindset. You have to try your best to work on it. Yeah, and tell yourself how grateful you are for everything in your life.
It's just the truth, because it does come back to you tenfold. 110%.
It does. It does. 110%. It really does.
What is your biggest love takeaway and biggest struggle with motherhood so far? You might not have any at all, which is also fine.
Biggest love? Yeah. Just the joy and love of your child. Yeah. You know, sometimes they make you cry. They say something so beautiful. Oh my God. Like, kiss your son. I was feeling poorly. I had a migraine. He came and he kissed me on my forehead. Oh. So, it's all right, mummy. I'm like... Like the love that you crave from this world, validate, you have it in your child. Yeah. What was the other one, sorry?
Takeaway.
Yeah,
like I guess lesson learned sort of thing.
Lesson learned.
Oh. Too many.
Yeah. Lesson learned. Again, like just don't be so hard on yourself. Okay. Do not give yourself as a parent grace. grace. It's grace. You know, it's not that deep.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. It's not that deep. And biggest struggle, if any?
Biggest struggle has been not listening to the noise, not listening to the judgment.
Okay.
Yeah, the judgments penetrate your spirit, and you've got to just put that armor up and be like, look, just believe. Look at your beautiful human that you've created. You've done that. You've created that smile, who they are. Like, you're doing okay, babe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the struggle to shut out the noise.
Yeah.
Turn it down.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Final bit. If there was one, I feel like you actually just said it. I was going to say, if there was one bit of advice you would give to someone who's self-employed and they are looking at motherhood and trying to understand, oh, how can I make this work? Because they want to do this. What would you say?
Keep going, and you can do more than you think you can.
Yeah.
Just keep pushing. You're self-employed. You don't have to wait for the call. Get on and do the things that you want to do. Even in the, you know, it's difficult sometimes in the silent times to do things and fear of failure in it.
Yeah.
But you're so fearful of it not progressing or being successful that you don't even start it in the silence.
Yeah.
No one's even knowing. This is it's the self kind of like fear. Do it. Create. Do anything, you know?
Yeah.
Go for a walk. Walk down the road, like, yeah. All right, Aisha.
No, but I got it.
Do you know what I
mean?
Like,
absolutely.
Like being on tour sometimes. The other day, I just got up in the morning and I was like, usually I was just lying in bed and snuggle. I got up, I just got showered, I went downstairs and I had a coffee. I sat there by myself, didn't message Mark, like my best friend. Usually I'd be like, what should we do?
Yeah.
Sat there in silence. Didn't put anything to watch, just having moments for myself and eating some fruit. It was just nice. Like, I'm in a space at the moment where, you just got to just be grateful for just everything in your life. Yeah. You know, as much as it's long, it's short. So.
Yeah, I agree. All right, well, Aisha, thank you so much for your
Thank
time
you for having
today.
Me. I hope I haven't waffled.
No, you haven't, and even if you had, it was still great. No, absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. Like, you definitely shared a lot that I think people would find useful and valuable, and this is the whole point of it all. So yeah,
hopefully.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.